Hi, and welcome to Wow Talk. I'm Donna Cappuccitti, a thriving cancer survivor.
And I'm her naturopathic doctor, Darlene Gustin. We're here to encourage, educate, and empower you on your journey to optimum wellness.
Welcome.
Hi there.
You ready to start another episode here?
I can't wait. This is one of my favorite topics.
Okay, very cool. I know we were chatting about it just before we went on the air. So why don't you let us know, Dr. Gustin, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about the magic of turning 38 years old.
Whoa, that is magical. And why 38?
Well, I just have an unbelievable amount of new patients who are 38 years old and the odd 39-year-old, and they come in with unwellness. They don't feel good in a variety of ways. Life as usual, same lifestyle, same diet, same activity level, and all of a sudden things are going wrong. And they've usually already seen their medical doctor, all the blood tests come back normal, but they're not okay. They're losing hair, they're gaining weight, their periods are changing, they're moody, they're tired, and they're doing everything the same as they did a few years ago, but it's not feeling good.
That's interesting. So that's what it is. So nothing like you're not saying anything major, but just this unwellness feeling.
It's the beginning years of perimenopause.
Yeah.
So in Chinese medicine, they know that men and women past their prime in their mid-30s, that's your prime childbearing time, is slowly starting to slow down. Mm-hmm. And the first hormone that usually drops is progesterone. So for most of those people, I recognize the symptoms as low progesterone, and sometimes we'll test, and testing's a whole other different topic. Testing doesn't pick it up, especially blood work. And the reference ranges are wide. Even if you go to the private labs and test through saliva or urine, you could have slipped below your optimum normal from the past, but you're still in that normal range at the lab. So you fall through the cracks, but you don't feel good. So as naturopaths, we work a lot with what we call dysfunction. You don't have a disease. You're not going to stop menstruating anytime soon, but you're feeling that dip in hormones.
Okay, you're feeling it. Okay, so what do we do? Walk into your office. I tell you all this stuff. Mm-hmm. What do you say? What do you do?
Well, I discuss the symptoms and I discuss the options for testing and that they may still fall through the cracks. And then we have to come up with an action plan. And usually the action plan for this is very lifestyle based. And slowly as we age, we're less tolerant of carbs. We need a little more protein. Our sleep matters more than it used to. We just can't get away with burning the candle at both ends the way we used to.
Yep.
Yeah. And the transition in our body as our ovaries begin to slow down, as I say, this is my phrase, as they begin the descent towards menopause.
The descent.
The descent towards menopause, when you run out of eggs and stop ovulating and stop menstruating. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not like jumping off a cliff. It's more like sliding down a hill. And so you've begun that downslide in your late 30s. And so I recognize the symptoms and I start with the basics. Are you getting enough sleep, fiber, protein? I check the body composition. So sometimes people look slim, they look good, but they are what we call the skinny fat person.
Yes, and we have an episode all about that. So
Yeah.
you can check it out. We'll put the link in our description and you can take a look at that or take a listen at that episode. And yeah, but how do you test the composition? What do you do?
I have a body composition testing machine called the BIA machine, bioimpedance analysis. And it's very quick. It's less than 5 minutes. It's electrodes on your hand and foot. And the electrical signal goes through the body and it measures how much water, fat, muscle, etc. And a person who does not have enough muscle and therefore is left with excessive body fat, that can be one of the repercussions of low protein intake.
Oh,
yeah, and the most powerful hormone in the body is actually insulin. Yeah.
Okay.
So people don't even know insulin's a hormone.
Thank you. I was just about to say that, and then I was afraid to say it because I thought, does everybody
Too
know?
embarrassed.
Am I the only, exactly. Am I the only one who doesn't know?
What kind of a naturopathic patient doesn't know this stuff?
I know this one.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Wow.
okay. So I teach them these simple things. So
Yeah.
basically, if you think of a diabetic, how they really need routine and balanced meals at regular intervals, now that matters for you and your hormones as well. Do you eat enough oil? Is it high quality oil? And
Okay.
simple things like that. Are you deficient in magnesium? And so I maximize those kind of things. We call that lifestyle medicine. And once that's in place, then I might go to supplements and I might test them for deficiencies. Like vitamin D is very important for us Canadians up here.
Yeah.
It is a hormone. It has many roles in the body. So that's one of the first things I ask, when were you last tested for vitamin D? And then for vitamin and mineral deficiencies, do you have enough omega-3, omega-6, magnesium, vitamin B6? So all of these vitamins, minerals, oils, they are the building blocks from which hormones are made. And the biggest secret of them all is that as your ovaries start producing less hormones with age, the brain knows all about it, and the brain goes to plan B. And plan B is that you can make hormones in your adrenal glands, your stress glands. So up to age 35, they contributed a bit. But
Okay.
as you begin this downslide towards menopause, the adrenals can and should make more hormones than before, just to keep the balance. Because when the brain detects that there's not enough progesterone or estrogen in the body, then the messages for producing those hormones become louder, coming from the brain, from the pituitary gland. And I tell people, I go, that's just a really fancy way of telling you that stress matters and it's going to affect you more as you age.
Yeah.
And you can't get away with it, whatever you did before.
Okay. All right then. Yeah, that all makes sense. Perfect sense. And do you find mentally that these women are starting to get nervous or panicky about the fact that they're turning 40 soon?
Maybe. Is it an emotional thing, or is it the hormones making them feel like that? And think of the 38-year-old, the typical 38-year-old. She's probably working full time. She's got aging parents. She's got a bunch of kids. She has to drive them around to soccer. And it's a busy time in life. So tell me she's not stressed out, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So somebody has to tell her, nobody else is pulling this off. It's time for self-care. Take some shortcuts. Take the nap. Take the vacation. Because if you don't, then your adrenals won't be making hormones and you'll feel the symptoms.
Okay. Okay. And I find it interesting that you say at that age they come in, and these are first-time patients, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Yes. So it's like they've been going through the regular system with their family doctors and living life, and then realizing that they need more as far as like for taking care of their health and well-being. And they're not feeling that they're getting it just from the other stream of medicine, I guess.
They don't fall into a box of a pathology because it doesn't show up on their traditional blood work. It's unwellness.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. It's a different world, and it's the world of a naturopath. We work with that all the time.
Yes. Okay. So, any suggestions? Like what, let's say, you know what, there's someone turning 38, 39, approaching 40, and maybe they don't feel that bad, so they don't feel the need to go in. I guess back to what you were saying, just look at your lifestyle, look at the amount of sleep you're getting, make sure you're eating enough protein, getting those supplements, on your own, but it doesn't hurt to go and talk to a professional as well.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention is it's not happening just to the woman. It's also happening to the men.
Okay. Yeah, that was my next
So
question.
andropause isn't acknowledged enough. It's almost never tested unless, someone has a very specific reason to be testing their testosterone. It's not like a general wellness check usually with patients and their medical doctors, but I talk about this to the men as well. It's the same thing. It's just to take a raw look at where you're overexerting yourself and not replenishing yourself enough, because the answers really are that simple.
It's funny you should bring that up about men, because my theory, and it's just my theory, So there's nothing scientifically based for my theory, but I have often felt that when men go through a midlife crisis, it's because they're going through this andropause, you call it?
Andropause?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has another name.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You want to know the other name?
Okay, yeah.
Grumpy old man syndrome.
Okay, starting at that age.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's early to start.
Just gets worse with time.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay, next episode's on andropause.
Yes, we need to talk about it because that's right. I don't think it's touched on enough. I don't think people even acknowledge it for the most part. And I think it needs to be acknowledged. And because if our hormones are doing something different, then I bet you the men's are too.
Of course. And if we, as a naturopath, most of the focus would be on adrenal health. Those are the stress glands.
Okay.
And if we go down that road a little bit, if you were to ask me, what are the top 3 most effective things I have seen help my patients with their stress, their resilience, with restoring adrenal reserve? That's kind of like putting gas back in the car. These are the top 3.
Okay.
Number 1 is sufficient protein.
That's a big one.
Big.
Okay.
Usually about 1 gram per kilo per day.
Okay.
Assuming your activity level is less than 3 hours a week.
Okay.
And I measure it first and give patients the exact amount of protein that I want them to eat
Okay.
and monitor. Number 2 is sufficient rest. So, of course, your typical nighttime sleep. But beyond that, self-care, vacations, nap when you need to, just rest of every kind. And number 3 is mindset. Change your thinking.
Yes.
So for instance, the typical full-time working mom with a bunch of kids in a bunch of activities, you don't have to do it all. Outsource something. Take a shortcut. Order in that day. Get a cleaning lady. Whatever. You can't do it all. And I'm the first one guilty of attempting and failing at that.
I'm the second one for sure.
I tell my patients, listen, girl, it's not just you. Been there, done that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's a really great sound advice, and it gives our listeners something to think about, especially those approaching on the other side of 35. And if you're starting to feel unwell or just not, things aren't just the way that you're used to them feeling, or your energy level isn't the same, there is hope, and you're not alone. And it's more common than you think. And look to your naturopath.
Yeah, Donna and I survived it. You will too.
Yes, if we did, you will. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions or suggestions, please send them our way. And
Thank you. We look forward to doing one on andropause for you next.
that's right.
Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.